We're now moving on to match 4. We're currently 2-1, having beaten Lands twice and having lost to Grixis Delver. We're on the draw. And we should get started. We're going to keep this hand. It's not amazing. It's really soft to something like a Probe Therapy. That would most likely have to be the mirror if that were to happen, which I guess isn't common enough that we should worry about it, but not that common. Beyond that, look, it's reasonably redundant. If we get to cast a couple of cantrips, the hand's probably a little slow, but should shape up pretty quickly. Unfortunately, we can see our opponents on Elves with a start that doesn't worry us, and we draw an Infernal Tutor. So we're very likely to be able to win next turn, especially now we've found Dark Ritual, Lion's Eye, Diamond. So next turn we're going to be able to ponder twice. So we're going to draw the LED, we're going to fetch, cast Ponder, Ponder twice, and that will almost definitely find us either like another LED or a Ritual, and that will almost definitely seal up the game. Our opponents is anything for 1 here. I'd assume a untapper, most likely, but they grab a Deathrite Shaman. So they probably cotton on to the fact that we're on Storm. It's a fairly standard turn 1 Storm play. We ponder and we find the Ritual, so realistically we can just, if we wanted, we have the option to ponder, grab the Ritual, grab the other petal, which might let us make natural Storm. However, there's not really any need to. We can just pass some Flames Loop from here pretty easily. We're just going to do the LED Cabal Ritual trick here just to make sure that we hit threshold of the Cabal Ritual. I don't think it's necessary, but it's probably a good habit to do where we can. Just as small things like that can sometimes mean extra mana that can make a very real difference in certain games. And we're just going to get a nice easy turn 2 kill here. So we can see our opponent was setting up so that they could possibly natural order. I don't know if it would have been for lethal next turn. But yeah, luckily we got there first. We're going to bring in Ground Seals. I'm trying this out lately as I know Julian Nab said he hated it, or hated seeing it in play. So I guess that means we're probably quite interested too. I guess it also prevents things like them Thoughtseize surgicalling us out of the game, or situations with Quirion Ranger and Deathrite Shaman leading to multiple Deathrite activations in a turn, which is also something we're interested in avoiding. Beyond that, we're bringing in a couple of Flusterstorms. That's to pinch them on their natural order turns, as they're often quite tight on mana and have cast a couple of spells. We're going to bring in a Chain of Vapor. It should possibly be a second, or possibly some Abrupt Decays. We just want outs to random things like Gatteig. Certain times we want to get rid of Deathrite Shaman. Other times we might want to bounce Rurik Thar. We're going to cut therapies. I don't really like it therapying out their Elves. We'd need to have something like multiple discard spells or some kind of situation where they have duplicates of a card in hand and we know about it and we can therapy it. And unfortunately, look, that really just happens less than we might like. We cut a Preordain. Actually, I think we kept both Preordains. We cut a land and a Past in Flames. So we probably should have cut Basic Island just to keep an eye on choke. And we cut past in flames because they're going to attack our graveyard as hard as they can. We have to mull this hand. It's hopeless. Unfortunately, it just doesn't do anything. They can just naturally curve out into elves and we will lose. Our opponent appears to be having a difficult mulligan decision, which I think we're kind of happy about. We definitely have to mull this hand. Unfortunately, no lander is just not going to work. Oh, we've kept it. Okay. It's far too greedy, I think. Okay, and our opponent's just cycled a glimpse. I guess that's probably good for us, as it means he doesn't really have much. We don't think he's got much going on. And there's the Gaddock. So we finally find an underground sea. And we can actually seal up the game next turn. Only unfortunately our opponent has a Thoughtseizer, so we're going to lose our Chain of Vapor. Which actually leaves us with no outs. So off that underground sea, we almost definitely should have held up Brainstorm. And we're now going to bring in our second Chain of Vapor, having been burnt once. Actually, we're going to, okay, so we're bringing in Abrupt Decays. So Abrupt Decays makes sense. If they're running Gaddock, they probably don't have a Rurik Thar. Would be a fairly safe assumption here. The reason we're making that assumption is, look, realistically, they're only going to be interested in having one form of that kind of hate. That hate is tutorable. Gaddock is the more efficient of the two. We're going to keep this hand. It's not amazing, but it will do the job. We're also going to get to find out whether or not Crown Seal is actually worthwhile. So I did mention before that, okay, so we need to keep both of these cards, I think. And we can put Flusterstorm on top of our library. So I did mention before that we should be cutting the basic island in case of choke. Choke theoretically shouldn't be threatening for us. Theoretically, Elves players should not be bringing it in. We have enough ways to win without it that it's not actually something that I think they should be doing. However, unfortunately, our opponents aren't always as predictable as we might like. So our opponent's going to Thought Seize a copy of over ad nauseum here. There's nothing else that's reasonable for them to take. And we can see a hand of theirs that's not really doing much. I think in this particular case, they're not even interested in reusing that therapy of theirs, as they're really going to want that Wirewood Symbiote. It's their only creature. Okay, and now we really have to protect ourselves from a therapy. So I think if we'd drawn a different ritual or a different piece of fast mana, we would have been pretty interested in letting that therapy resolve. But as it stands now, it doesn't seem worthwhile. Okay, so they've taken the Cabal Rituals anyway. I think, given current board states, we can probably rebuild a little quicker than them. Or look, we have a better capacity to go off from them than them. They don't really have anything at all happening. That natural order of theirs requires actual creatures. We have a lot of live draws from here. Unfortunately, we're drawing bricks at the moment. So we want to take that Glimpse of Nature. It's the only card in the hand that does anything. So Abrupt Decay kills Ground Seal. They don't have anything to follow it up with. Natural Order can't be cast and won't do anything. Glimpse of Nature means that if they go something like Glimpse into Visionary, the Glimpse into Heritage Druid, whatever it is they draw is very likely to get them a Glimpse chain going. My understanding though with Glimpse is it probably should have been boarded out. The reason you want to be boarding out Glimpse there is you're taking out a lot of the little green elves, so Glimpse becomes a lot worse. It's a lot harder to get reliable Glimpse chains going. We're now just going to Infernal Tutor and grab a copy of Past in Flames. If we're doing this, really what we should have done... No, I think we had to take the natural order there. So we might have been interested in keeping one of the petals there so that we've got mana floating. But I think we have reasonable odds of finding, look, an LED wins us the game here. And so we're going to wonder if this is a Rec Sage if it's 3 mana. I don't think we're particularly concerned if it is. A Rec Sage is a bit of a better clock, but okay, so it's a Zenith for 2. If it's a Zenith for 2, it's almost definitely, yep, Gaddock Teague. So now we need to, I think, get quite lucky. So we've seen a big chunk of our library now. So we're going to go Ground Seal into, I think, Brainstorm. I think we'd be kind of keen to Brainstorm end of turn here and find a Chain of Vapor. The good news for us here is you can see him tapping 6 mana, so that means he's got Craterhoof Behemoth in play. Oh, great, in his hand. Only it seems like either Teague is bugged, or he doesn't realise that he can cast the Behemoth, even with the Teague in play. That's interesting. So we almost lost right there. And I think we really want to be drawing exactly Abrupt Decay pretty much right now, in case he works out what's happening with Teague. And we're now on to my very last turn of the game. And we draw the Decay. And I make a really, really big punt here. And cast the Dark Ritual off our only green source. Which of course loses us the match. So this is a very big punt and it tilted me a lot. And we really don't have any outs after that.